What's up everyone? I hope all is well. My name is CollegeSportsREVIVED and I can't wait to jump back into our Fordham Lambs Legacy Mode series here on College Hoops 2K8, featuring of course the legendary Coach Carter. Perhaps the reason why I'm so excited has something to do with our double-digit losing streak finally coming to an end last episode, and a pretty impressive win over a quality ball club in Xavier. We jumped out to the biggest lead we've had all season. It was 15 at the break. And instead of relinquishing that lead like we've seen time and time again this season, we held tough all the way to the end. AJ Ali and Evangelo Higgins poured in 19 apiece in that one for our first win in 11 games. We then head to simulation for a road game in West New York State to take on St. Bonaventure for a close, hard-fought 70-65 loss. But unfortunately, much like the Xavier game, our Rams jumped out to a big lead after a 47-point first half, but then limped to the finish line, failing to reach 20 in the second half. Higgins led us with 15 as the conference's best player, Albert McKenzie, dropped 20 and 6 blocks on us in this one. Wouldn't be surprised to see the 6'10 senior be named the A-10's Player of the Year at the end of Season 1. This kid is a beast. Our road trip continues in Philadelphia as we battle one of the A-10's better offensive teams in St. Joseph's. Not only that, but they're also one of the more inconsistent teams as well. They've enjoyed an 8-game winning streak at one point that leaked in conference play. Then they dropped 4 straight, including losses against UMass and LaSalle, who are at the bottom half of the conference, and then 3 more consecutive wins, including a road win at Richmond, who's a top 10 team in the most recent college basketball polls. So that's pretty impressive right there. So it's all a question of which Joe's team are we going to see today as our opponent. They are a team that looks their best when they spread out their attack. They have 7 players above 5 points per night, and their undersized 6'5" power forward Denzel Patton is their leader on both ends of the floor, leading the Hawks in both points, rebounds, and actually blocks on the season as well. Both starting guards, Breon Daly and Lonnie Rhodes, are dangerous 3-point threats. You have to keep an eye on Rhodes right when he crosses the timeline. He has a shooting range you don't see very often. Alright boys, we're back for episode number 9 of the Fordham Rams Legacy Mode series as we make a trip to the city of brotherly love. We can come out of here with a win. It'll be 2 out of our last 3 games in the win column, so a nice little way to turn things around after that 11-game losing streak, as right out of the gate we see Lonnie Rhodes stepping up and knocking down a 3. The St. Joe's Hawks have 3 players who shoot at least 37% from behind the line, and Lonnie Rhodes is probably the most dangerous of that trio. Now we see Evangelo Higgins dropping off a pass on our first possession inside to AJ Ali, who has been surging as of recent. Not only is AJ Ali playing well recently, he's averaged over 14 points per game in his last 3 ball games. He's also top 2 in points, rebounds, assists, and steals, and minutes per game for our Fordham Rams this season. As look at Evangelo Higgins getting the stop inside on the St. Joe's Hawks. 2 chances, both extinguished by Evangelo Higgins, and then out in the open floor, it's Stan Scott linking up with AJ Ali. Stan Scott was a big reason, big talking point last episode. He's been surging off the bench recently, but so has AJ Ali, man. Over 14 points per game in his last 3 games, and he had an awesome game to snap the losing streak, 16 points last episode in our finale. So now we jump ahead a little bit as some more subs check in. We're going with all 5 of our players being off the bench, and look at Kosuke Takahashi getting some extra playing time. And that's for a reason that we're going to talk about in a second. Actually, AJ Ali's 3-point play he just had moments ago, he was actually a little bit shaken up, so that's why you're seeing Takahashi get some minutes here in the first half, as we're now down by 6, as Fabian Swanson has a lane. He's drawing 2 as Preston Murphy fades to the strong side corner and will knock it through, cutting the lead in half for his first basket. Preston Murphy's another guy I'm going to talk about a lot this episode, but not in the way you might expect, as Takahashi then closes down a layup for St. Joe's. 4.5 minutes left to play, still a 3-point game. Lonnie Rhodes being covered tightly by our best perimeter defender, Rashawn Pollard, as Breon Daly bounce pass outside for 3. That is Anton Reese, a 6'4 senior who only plays 12 minutes a game, but like I said, from top to bottom, there's 3-point threats all across this roster, and that's already their 4th made 3 on the game so far. So right now the 3-point line is being a little bit abandoned by our defense. We're going to have to tighten things up moving forward as Preston Murphy enters the post. Bounce pass to Pollard, looking for a good possession as we haven't seen AJ Ali in a while. And this assist will go from Sorensen to Preston Murphy. And Murphy's been struggling a little bit, actually. Even in the Xavier game where we snapped our losing streak, he only shot 2 for 9, so that's something we're going to talk about more so next game. But for now, we have to check on the update on AJ Ali. As we scroll down here, we see that Ali got a little shaken up on that 3-point play he had. Ali was off to a quick start. He had 7 points in only 6 minutes before not checking back in for the rest of the first half. And now that we're at the halftime show, we finally get an official update on AJ Ali's status. We're down by 3. It's not been the greatest play game on offense for either side, but we might have to do the rest of this game without our best player. The 6'8 senior from upstate New York has a dislocated finger he suffered on that 3-point play moments ago. So we'll see if he comes back. His status is in question, but he is giving it a go here. He's out there with the starters right now to begin the second half of action as Fordham is down 32-27. A minute and a half as this feed goes into AJ Ali to Pollard. Pump fake from Murphy, navigates to the corner, and he will hit his second corner triple from that left wing. All right, Preston Murphy, nice to see him turning things around a little bit. That'll cut the lead back down to 2. As we're only 2.5 minutes into this second half of play. It's Fashawn Pollard off the dribble who will knock down a little pull-up J. All right, so it's back to a tied ball game. We saw a flash in the pan just how dominant St. Joe's can be, but perhaps now we're seeing how inconsistent they can be as it's snatched by Pollard and he runs the break and dunks it down on top of Brayon Daly with 2 hands. The 6'6 combo guard rising up and touching the rafters on this one as we retake the lead in style. Our first lead of the contest, in fact. This one snatched by Preston Murphy as right now the Hawks are barely treading water. Nice pass by Higgins trying to set up Ollie, but the extra feed works around back to Higgins, who has all the time in the world to knock this 3 down. There's his second field goal, 1 for 3 from beyond the arc from Higgins, but it is a big one as Fordham looks to take control. He could have licked his finger and checked the wind before he shot that one. He was wide open. This is a 3, once again off the mark, but Denzel Patton finally a showing for the Joe's top scorer on the season, and it's another 3 that is missed. Right now the Joes are just forcing up shots, but no way, so is Higgins, and it's dropping for him, pulling up on the break and ripping it clean. Now all of a sudden Fordham's up by 9 with 6:18 left to play. Jure Calloway, the backup big man, will deliver a nice little feed, a little flick to Brayon Daly to finally get the Joes back trending in the right direction. They needed one badly as they've been settling for 3s way too often here in the second half. Now it's Fabian Swanson at the high post and he's got a mismatch. It's Daly on him as Swanson continues to make that little baby hook one of his trademarks, man. He's hit a lot of those here in these last couple episodes, and there goes another one as it's now snatched by Swanson. Inside to Scott. No, couldn't knock it through. It's all good. At least the press is working. It's another day where we forced a decent amount of turnovers against our opponent as here comes Palmer. This is a 6'6 backup big man. It's J.C. Palmer, who actually leads the Hawks in blocks per game. He's tied with Denzel Patton despite playing 9 less minutes than Patton per game. So J.C. Palmer, a 6'6 freshman who has a bright future here as Ollie kicks it around to Aaron Holiday for the knockout punch. Everything that the Joes throw at us, we have a response for. Timeouts. And if we can just sit on it, we are going to clinch our second win in 3 games. It's Ollie. Now to Murphy. Inside to Ollie, who brings 2 defenders to him, but it's blocked by Jure Calloway. But we do get another chance at it. Good job staying tough on the offensive glass. It's Evangelo Higgins stepping it back. In style, gets a little razzle-dazzle for the final icing on the cake in this one. He reaches double figures as we also beat the St. Joe's Hawks by double figures as well to secure our second win in 3 games after a 44-point second half, mostly due to the hands of Murphy, Higgins, Pollard, and how can we forget Cade Sorensen inside. AJ Ali, He still posted 4 more points in the second half, but he didn't look the same, and it really sucks to see because AJ Ollie was just starting to hit his stride. Like I said, 14 points per game in his last 3. He's becoming the leader that we all thought he would be pre-season, but to be dealing with a little finger injury, that can really have effect on your shooting. So we'll see how AJ Ollie responds to that moving forward. So a week passes and we head back home to face the Salle Explorers, who are hovering around 500 right now in the conference. They are currently 7th in the conference, fighting for seeding at this point in the season. And this may also be the best time for us to face LaSalle as well. We all know how up and down our offense has been in Season 1, but we're also fresh off of 3 pretty good games on offense, including 44 second half points against the Joes. So we're going to need all the firepower we can get against the Explorers because their defensive statistics, they really jump out of the page at you. LaSalle is loaded inside with either forwards or centers being their top 4 scorers on the season, including 6'11" star Cliff Colucci. The senior is 4th in the conference in both points and rebounds per game. And he's also backed by Keaton O'Hara, an awesome defensive wing, Kobe Frazier, an awesome defensive guard. But their only real threat from outside is number 30, senior point guard, Layman Graves. So this is a team that's a little sloppy on the offensive end, but their defense keeps them hanging around in pretty much every game they play, as they sit at 6-5 with a conference record at this point in the season. So they're trying to stay above 500 for us as AJ Ollie continues to battle that finger injury, and he will deliver an assist to Preston Murphy to kick things off today. I wanted to talk about Murphy's last 4 games. He's only averaging under 9 points per game and 31% shooting over his last 4. That's something to really keep in mind moving forward. That's dropped the season average to about 11 a game when it was up above 13 for a pretty good majority of the first half of the season, as we see our first sighting of Cliff Colucci. Nice little drop-off pass by Layman Graves. Those two are an awesome pick-and-pop duo, as here comes Vashawn Pollard on the very next possession to increase our early lead to potentially 8-2, which he would do. Our best free throw shooter comes through, but later on, LaSalle knotting things back up at 13 apiece as they go on a run of their own. AJ Ollie also not really looking like himself for the first couple minutes of this one, but he does tip a pass right into the hands of Evangelo Higgins. Spin move, looking for the drop-off pass. It goes to Preston Murphy, challenging Colucci inside, and he comes up big on this possession. How about a quick 10 points in the first 5.5 minutes for our boy Preston Murphy? And so we are clinging to a 1-point lead. A lot of offense so far in this game. Curling off a screen is Colucci. We bring 2, but it's a bounce pass to Layman Graves, who's having just as much success as Murphy. The 6-foot senior only averages 5 on the year, but he's already got 10 to match Murphy's total. So now we're down by 4. 5.5 left to go. Some reserves check in. It's AJ Ollie, who then leaves the layup short. Oh man, it was a great look by Holiday there. So now we see Wofford, Keon Wofford, the 5'11 junior. He's the backup guard. He delivers a pass to Colucci, and we have to bring 2 defenders to Colucci, who makes the extra feed for Luther Green to drive baseline. So now the Explorers on a huge run, 26-20, as we get Higgins and Murphy back into the ball game. It'll be Nick Nystrom to Murphy. Pump fake. Is he going to shoot another one off the dribble and net it? Yes, he will. It's Preston Murphy, who looks like he's becoming even more comfortable off the dribble than he is spotting up and shooting off the catch. But to be fair, he's been kind of like that the entire season. He is a very unique talent, Preston Murphy, with a bright future here in the Bronx. Kobe Frazier, the very talented defensive guard, is off the mark, but here comes Sweeney. Bryson Sweeney, another 6'11 senior, the same stature as Colucci. He is another talented big man on this team. He is the team leader in blocks per game, but there he is living above the rim. He's a great athlete, that 6'11 senior is. Now curling off a screen is Sweeney, giving it to Luther Green, who makes the extra pass to Melvin Myers. The Explorers work it around to Keaton O'Hara, who is 3rd on the team in scoring. 8 points, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block in 28 minutes per game, and he leads the Explorers in minutes played. He is kind of their Iron Man. So we gave up 39 points in the first half to a team that only averages 61 a night. They don't have, statistically speaking, they don't have that much better of an offense than we do on the season, but they have already eclipsed damn near 40 points already, so we're going to have to tighten things up on the offensive end. Great pass, by the way, by Vashawn Pollard. I think we do a lot better whenever Pollard has a pretty good number in the assist tally. I'm gonna have to look up what our numbers are, like how many games have we won if he has like 4 or more assists, because it seems like we always do better when Vashon Pollard is wheeling and dealing from the point guard spot. But there is Cliff Colucci for 0.7 and 8. As right now LaSalle is continuing to kill us on the glass, but it's Murphy. He's got a chance to pull it up in O'Hara's face, and he nets 3 more points. Oh my goodness, Preston Murphy. It's great to see him turn it around. As in the first half, we actually shot a pretty good percentage from 3. We were 4 from 6 from behind the line in the first half, but Murphy himself was 3 of 4. But here comes O'Hara for the response. Now he's got 10. The Explorers up above 50 points now. 10 minutes left to play here in the second half, and we're just looking for something. I mean, it sucks to really waste such a good offensive performance against a good defensive team just because we can't play a lick of defense today. Top of the key, it's Murphy for 3-pointer number 5, and then AJ Ollie steals the inbounds pass, floating it over to Higgins. We need this one, and it's short, but now it's Murphy doing it on the glass. It's off. Sorensen is there, and that one cannot drop either. Oh my goodness. Kobe Frazier leading the break, and he drops it off to Luther Green to extend the lead back to 9. So once again, Fordham in the danger zone with 4 minutes left to play. This one's rejected by Cade Sorensen. We needed something to perhaps turn the tides. Finally, some defense being played by the Rams. 3:44 left to go in the game, setting things back up for Vashon Pollard. Drop off to Swanson. Good extra feed outside to Sorensen. Another team who's played a lot of zone against us, but we're having a good offensive day against it, as Murphy now is up to 23 on the game. It's Jack Adifi on the other end, the 4th leading scorer for the Explorers. That's Layman Green's 7th assist, and at the end of the day, we just could not get the stops necessary. And for a team like us, who is below 60 points per game on the year, we scored 70 today, but unfortunately we just could not get the stops necessary. And like I said before, it just is a shame that we had to waste such a good offensive performance in a losing effort just because we could not play a lick of defense today against a team that isn't all that threatening on the offensive end, statistically speaking. If you want to look at the glass half full perspective, at least we got Preston Murphy back on track after his recent shooting slump. A new career high. Previously it was 25, as you see in the bottom left corner. Now 27 tonight on 9 for 15 shooting. Hopefully he can bring his performances back up as we dwindled down season 1. AJ Ollie once again struggled, however. He continues to fight through that hand injury, but it looks like he'll be back and fully healthy for the first game we'll simulate outside of this LaSalle game. A lot of experience from the Explorers. They actually have more than half of their roster as upperclassmen, but then we do secure a win as AJ Ollie goes back to full strength, a 66-63 win over George Washington, as we probably should have beat the Colonials early on in the year. I remember during our losing streak, we actually lost an overtime game on the road to these guys. Well, this time around, we get our revenge as AJ Ollie looks the part once again. 14-4. You can tell he's back and ready to go. But Cade Sorensen with his highest outing on the year as well. He had 14 in this one. And Fabian Swanson with 10 off the bench. It was a day to remember for the big fellas, as we forced over 15 turnovers from the Colonials. Once again, that press is obviously doing wonders for us and keeping us competitive. So now we improved to 3-10 on the season, but we have to take on the 14th ranked team in the country, fresh off their Final Four appearance last year, the St. Louis Billikens, now 9-4 in the conference. If you take a look at their offense, they're about league average at 61.9 points per game. But this season comes around and they turn themselves from an elite offensive team to a stellar defensive team. 53.3 points per game allowed, that's top 20 in the country. And they also tried out a 3-headed trio that is not easy to prepare for whatsoever. You may remember 2 of these names from the preseason video all the way back at the beginning of season 1, Cedric Lattimore and Bryce Sherrington, 2 guys who were second team preseason All-American picks in the preseason show that happens annually in this Legacy Mode series. Yeah, this is a very scary team that we only lost to by 9 the last time we faced these guys in simulation. So we'll see if we can keep it close, hopping in and actually playing this one ourselves as we finally get a look at the very scary St. Louis team. 3 seniors, Krecklow, Lattimore, and Sherrington, who all have given fits to whoever they played this season. So it's time to tip off the ball and see how we do against the number 14th ranked team in the country. This is the type of game that is a good way to see where we are specifically as a team at this point in the season, as Sherrington is left open. Yeah, that didn't take very long for the Billikens to get on the board. Sherrington, a 6'8", 241-pound senior, 11.6 rebounds. He's also 3rd in the conference in blocks per game as Pollard tries it from 3, but look at AJ Ollie on the glass, fighting inside with the Billikens, gives it back out to Preston Murphy, and now we're on the board finally. All right, AJ Ollie's got to do some banging down low. We all do. We all got to help out on the boards. We were completely trounced on the boards last episode, or rather last game against LaSalle. So that's something we're going to have to prove on moving forward as Raymar Claxton comes inside, grabs his own rebound, and we get our first look at the 5'10 senior 2-guard Cedric Lattimore. 7th in the conference in points per game, 9th in assists. But honestly, looking up and down this roster, they got guys at all positions that are top 10 in the conference in some sort of category as Lattimore strokes it again. Now the Billikens out to a 6-point lead as Stan Scott checks in and turns it over. It's Sherrington ripping it clean in Austin Krecklow, a guy I haven't talked about yet, the 6'6 point guard rising up and dunking it down with 2 hands. Oh man, Krecklow is probably the best defensive guard they have. Not probably, most definitely is. He's 4th in the conference in steals per game, with Sherrington right behind him at 5th in the conference in steals, as it's now Terrell Desmond, the backup point guard, picking one off inside to Krecklow again. Oh my goodness, the Billikens are legit. And we're going to have to find a way to hold on to the rock, or else this is going to be a pretty open and shut case today on who's winning this one. Now it's 3:21 left to go. Still not at 20 points so far scored in the first half, as now it's Lattimore, who is rejected by Fabian Swanson, who closes down the second chance. Scott with the bounce pass inside to Amir Holiday. Finally, something to turn the tides a little bit as we get back on defense with 3 minutes left to play. Now the Billikens burn a timeout as we bring back in our starting 5. I think we should try to just keep the Billikens lead within 10 points as we head into the break. This one's Sherrington trying to follow his own miss as the starters come back in for St. Louis, as well as AJ Ollie is caught in no man's land. Sherrington for 2 more points is up to, this will be 14 if he knocks down the free throw, and the 6'8 senior gets it done. He's been the star out of the Billikens' 3-headed trio. Their big 3 combined for 38 points, 14.5 rebounds, 9 assists, and 4.5 steals on the season, all put together, those 3 players. There's a lot of production out of 3 guys, and there's a reason why they are so dominant, and they're coming off a Final Four appearance from last season. We got to find a way to stop number 4, Sherrington. Here he is again. His highlights have just been insane. And we expect to see some double teams being brought his way. He's got 13. Let's see if we can hold him to not reaching 20 on the night. We'll see if we can at least do that moving forward. So 35-23 as Nick Nystrom's actually the point guard to be coming out of the break. But Sean Pollard struggled today, but Nystrom's made some plays as Murphy is left unattended. It's a little far out, but he still knocks it through as the Rams improve to 1 for 5 shooting from behind the line today. That's our first 3 of the ball game. We're just trying to do our best to find easy looks against this stout St. Louis defense. Now moving this one over to the right wing. It's Sorensen to Nystrom. All right, so it took us 15 minutes to make a 3, and then it takes another minute for us to make back-to-back 3s. 39-31 Billikens, 11:17 left to go. It's Higgins receiving a screen. Not much you can do with that parallel pick and roll against a 2-3 zone, but they play a little hot potato here at the elbow. It's Higgins inside to Ollie. Another extra pass to Murphy. Somehow he gets his big toes behind the line to knock down another 3. Oh my goodness, now we're starting to catch fire. It's Fordham with a couple unanswered baskets to dwindle this lead back down to 3, but we have to finally find some Pater inside. It'll be Sorensen going with a strong hand. The southpaw with the post hook. A little out of his arsenal, but he still gets it done. So now we're under 10 minutes to play, and it's a one-possession ball game between us and the 14th ranked team in the country. Starting to get a little hot, but here comes Cedric Lattimore as he lets you know what he thinks about Fordham potentially making this a game. Now up to 9 points is the 5'10 senior. 53.3 points per game allowed for the Billikens. That's 17th in the nation on the dot. So we'll see if we can at least eclipse 53 points scored today, but obviously we're looking for a couple more than just 53, as look at this play right here. Stanton Scott from elbow to elbow finds Amir Holiday. The very solid and consistent shooters link up there off the bench for a big basket. 47-42, now 6:23 left to go as the Billikens going through a bit of a slump of their own. Not much offense in these last couple minutes as both teams have a good amount of reserves in the game. It's AJ Ollie from 15 and it's knocked through. Now Stan Scott with his 4th assist. Whenever he's not scoring, he still finds a way to contribute off the bench. Stan Scott, I know he seemed a little bit selfish 2 episodes ago when he was complaining about his lack of playing time, but on the court he's anything but. So now 6 minutes to play as Preston Murphy checks back in. It's Matisse Lindsay who finds Lattimore over to Miles Ross, and it's rejected by Swanson. He scoops it up, and he's got a lane to go all 94 feet, and only a few dribbles taken. Fabian Swanson has been a gem this season. The former junior college baller has been nothing but lights out off the bench. He just continues to impress as we go inside to him again, as this time he makes the better decision. Finds Sorensen to reset it to Higgins. Good extra find to guess who? It's Fabian Swanson, knocking down only his 3rd made 3 on the year, and that's only his 10th attempt as well. So he's technically a 30% three-point shooter, which isn't terrible at his position. Oh my goodness, Swanson has almost single-handedly given us some extra life here with 2.5 minutes left to play. Going backdoor though is Austin Krecklow, who finds his 4th assist to Raymar Claxton, who's at 10 out of his 12 points in the second half. He has been awesome as we've continued to deliver double teams to Sherrington. He hasn't seen the ball as much this quarter, as this one's tipped around and it's saved by Raymar Claxton, and it's Krecklow out on the break. As this one's then taken away by Higgins as he takes it right back, and then Murphy wants to reward him with a layup. Yes! Fordham did not give up after we turn it over, and we stay within a possession of the 14th ranked team in the country. Timeout Billikens. We'll dwindle things down to a minute to play. 55-53. We've got the chance of a program changing upset. It's Sherrington with a free lane. He gives it to Lattimore, but we bring 2 defenders for the preseason All-American pick as Krecklow rushes it up. And we get the stop we need. Up ahead to Higgins, but it's knocked away. And then Murphy out-hustles 3 Billikens for the loose change. Okay, we need to settle it down a little bit. A 7-second difference between shot clock and game clock. We need to take our time and look for the best shot possible as the Billikens go back to man-to-man on this potential final possession. It's Ollie, puts his shoulder into Miles Ross, and he delivers the bucket. Yes, it's AJ Ollie for points 13 and 14. Back-to-back awesome games for Ollie as he's back from that finger injury, and he delivers probably the biggest basket of his Fordham career. Timeout Billikens again. Fordham has battled back, tying it up 55 apiece. 16 seconds left to play, and only one more stop is in the middle of Fordham and taking the 14th ranked team into overtime. 16 ticks left. Miles Ross the inbounder, but with so much offensive firepower, who will the Billikens go to down the stretch? The inbounder Krecklow, who surveys. He's covered tightly by Vashon Pollard. He's in his pocket. 9 seconds left. It's Claxton to Sherrington. Pump fake. He gets by the first man, keeps moving, and he's got a chance to take the lead, and he does. Krecklow finds Sherrington for the lead-taking basket with only 3 seconds left to play. Oh my goodness, what a shot there by Sherrington. Higgins, good closeout, but it was that pump fake he bid on that made all the difference, and we just couldn't locate him in time. And you see here the closeout just not in time. So now Fordham has to go the length of the floor with only 3 seconds left to go on the road with one last chance to upset the Billikens. And take a look at Sherrington. He's jawing a little bit here at the end of this play with Higgins. So anyway, we got to knock out the noise, take all that away. We got to stay focused at the task at hand. Nick Nystrom and Stan Scott are 3-point lineup check in for one last chance. It has to be a 3. We don't have enough time for it not to be. The inbound inside of Nystrom with a running start. 2 seconds, flicks it behind to Stan Scott for the win, and it is off. Oh, it was off to the right. Stan Scott cannot deliver the game-winning basket against the 14th ranked team, and we go home empty-handed after a very valiant efforts. Oh man, this one hurts. This one hurts a lot, but at the end of the day, we came back from down 10 at the break against a top 15 team in the country and a team who's looking to get back to the Final Four this season. AJ Ali really helped us out with 14 and his return to full strength. He's had 2 really good back-to-back games since coming back from injury. Fabian Swanson, what got into him in the second half, man? I know we've talked a lot about AJ Ali moving on after this season, but with the way Fabian Swanson is wrapping up his sophomore season, man, you got to think that this power forward position is in good hands moving forward. But anyway, we fall to 6 of 18 on the year, but things get very interesting next episode. Remember, the A10 takes 12 out of his 14 teams to the postseason conference tournament. So that means Fordham still has something to fight for against the 2 teams we'll be facing next episode, Duquesne and Rhode Island. Those are the 2 teams that we are fighting for that last seed right now. More specifically, Duquesne. We both sit at 3-11, and this is our one and only meeting against the Duquesne Dukes here in season 1. So depending on who wins that game is whoever gets the tiebreaker for that 12th and final seed. And yeah, it's our biggest game of season 1, so we still have something to fight for. We still, after all of the letdowns and all of the, even after the 11-game losing streak, we still have something to play for. And that's the beauty of college basketball. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Always something to play for in college ball. Not only that, but we can also improve our conference record from last season, the year before Coach Carter got here. We went 3-13 within the conference. And then this year we inherit the team, and right now we're sitting at 3-11. If we win one of those next 2 games against Rhode Island or Duquesne, we'll at least go 4-12. So that's an improvement in itself. Got to take those little wins here in season 1 as we try to rebuild the Fordham Rams. So a pretty exciting episode. We score another win, and we've exchanged wins and losses over our last 5 games. We'll see if we can take some of that momentum into the next episode as we try to close out the season on a high note against Rhode Island and Duquesne for the battle of that final seed in the postseason tournament. I know I said I'd have the recruiting update, the second half of it this episode, but this one ran a little bit longer than expected, so that'll be next episode. I'll give you guys an update on the final 5 players on our recruiting board. So stay tuned for that and more here on the channel. Ready to see you guys coming out today. This is College Sports Revived. I'm going to go get ready to shovel some snow, and I'll see you guys later. Peace, everybody.